We want to thank Flex Appeal for letting us do this here. This is a fucking awesome gym.
Yep.
Woo! The first one ever at Flex Appeal in Miami. So I drove around to a bunch of gyms to try to figure out the best one. And I didn't know what I was gonna do. And Guy was like, call my buddy Jesus, trust me, you're gonna love the place. I called him and he was like, look, Guy's like family to me. So if you're a family to Guy, come down, check it out. And I love the gym, the guys are awesome. And I hope that you guys are in this area, start training here, because if this was close to me, I'd train here every day. This gym is fucking awesome. So thank you very much. Second, thank you everybody that showed up for the event. A lot of people showed up. We're super excited about it. I know we were giving away a bunch of dust. I think that's all gone. And I hope everybody here that's never tried anything from Blackstone Labs at least got a sample to try. And then everybody here that's not a part of Blackstone, I hope you made some friends and had a good workout. Maybe took home a dog, I don't know. Big thank you to Made to Macro for providing the food for everybody. It's also Alexis from Made to Macro's birthday. I'd love to sing happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alexis. Happy birthday to you. That's the best meal prep service that I have used ever, and I've used a lot. And I made it the official meal service of Blackstone Labs. It's also the food that is fueling Keon Gibson into the 212 division. Looks like he's been eating a little bit over there. So I hope you guys got to try out some of the food. So I really wanted to thank my buddy Guy Cisternino for helping me organize this, really been putting this gym in my mind. So I had an idea of getting a big get-together going for a while. I didn't really know what I was gonna call it, what I wanted to do, but I feel like there's a void of this kind of shit in our industry. And especially now because of social media, you got everybody by themselves, setting up their cameras, putting up their stuff on their social media. No one's out like doing this in gyms anymore. And when we were young, this is all there was. You know, like we would all meet up in the gym, it'd be a Saturday or whatever, and everybody would train together. It was a really fun time in our life. So for me to get to have Guy here today is a really big deal because he is my truly first friend in bodybuilding. And I'll tell you guys a funny story about how it all started.
I already know this story about just so you guys know, PJ exaggerates these stories about me. He only exaggerates stories about me, so take this with a grain of salt.
So, at the time, he was going to college at Western Connecticut State University in Danbury, where I grew up. And there was like no bodybuilders in that area. I was the only one. And then in New Haven, you had Evan Centopani, right? It was just like the two big kids from Connecticut. And a buddy from my gym, this kid, Scott Perlman, came in one day and he was on the football team where Guy was playing football. Believe it or not, he could move really fast with all those muscles. And did you have like the Westcon clean dirt record?
I had the record for squat bench.
Oh, excuse me, he had a lot of records. So he was like, oh, you gotta meet my buddy Guy, he's just like you. And I was like, you know, typical like young, arrogant bodybuilder. I was like, I highly doubt he's just like you. And he's like, that's exactly just like you. You gotta meet him, you gotta meet him. You guys can train together and be friends. And I was like, yeah, I got enough friends. And he was like, you know, he just needs like somebody like you to like just put him in the right direction. He's a little younger. And I was like, tell you what, if he's that good, tell him to come meet me, tell him to bring a fucking notebook and a pen, and tell him to be ready to learn, and we'll set it up. So he came to Bennigan's, where I was bouncing. It was a karaoke night. It used to get crazy there.
1, 2, 3.
Yes. I don't know if we need to tell. We can. So you showed up. What'd you weigh back then? Like,
my first show at Pito was 162, so I got off.
so we'll say it was 175 pounds, and I was already like juiced up at that point. So it was probably.
You're wearing the same shirt.
So I was probably like 240, 250. 250, and he came in. I was like, all right, he's got a good shape. He brought the notebook. I was like, okay, he listens. I like that. And we sat down. We started bullshitting for a while, and he had done a show, and I wanted to watch the show. And I told him, in my opinion, you know, you just weren't lean enough. And he was like, well, I'll do whatever I have to do to be better. He's like, this is my life. This is what I want to go full time with. And I was like, well, we can start training together. And our first workout, and then all of the workouts after that, I always tell people, whatever we were doing, let's say it was back, right? So I would go first, and he would be like, how many did you do? And I'd be like, don't worry about how many I did. And he'd be like, no, just how many did you do? And I'd be like, 10. And he would do whatever it fucking took, and he'd finish the set and be like, 11. And we had like years of awesome workouts. Like workouts that ended with my nose hemorrhaging blood.
I remember that squatty?
Yeah, that was crazy. No one ever dies of a bloody nose. Remember that? I was freaking out. He was actually a real good sport about it. My nose was like hemorrhaging blood.
He got under the squat rack and just picked it up and went. And he went to go down his nose, like somebody punched him in the face.
Crazy. So I'm like panicking in the bathroom, and this old guy that was like pretty big, who was like known around the area, he walked in, and guy was like panicking, and he goes, no one ever dies of a bloody nose. But it was scary. And we became best friends. We trained together for, what, 7 years, 6 years?
We went through like 27 cars.
We went through a lot, but what I figured out that I've always said all these years is that Guy outworked every single person that I've ever known in all of the years of bodybuilding when people were like, oh, that guy's not going to be as good. He's not tall enough. You know, he's not big enough. He's not this, not that. Next thing you know, he won the middleweights at Nationals, got his pro card, and he actually did it fairly fast. And then people said, well, you know, that was the pinnacle of his career. You know, he's never going to do anything now. He's too small, this and that. And then next thing you know, he wins the 212 show. And now he's an Olympia competitor. He's won shows. He's got a huge following. People love him because he's real and he's honest. And he is a true story, in my opinion. Damn, I'm getting kind of emotional.
Me too. I'm trying to know what's getting
He is a true story of the American dream and like what hard work and following your dreams is all about, because he, in his mind, believed the whole time. All the way back from 2004 when we were naked in the backyard painting each other, and your dad was like, honey, look at what the kids are doing outside. They got socks over their dicks and they're painting each other.
I'm just gonna just enter a little side note that my dad saw all of PJ when he fruit cupped him in the driveway.
Yeah. From that time until now, he believed in his mind that he was gonna go where he wanted to go, and he did. And so to come full circle, be together today, hang out, we haven't caught up in a little while. I watch him very closely, he watches me pretty closely. He does a decent impression of me. We've always supported each other over the years, like brothers, you know, as close as friends could be. So for him to come down, not being a part of Blackstone Labs, just because he wanted to come down and hang out and be with everybody else that was here and have some things to say, I think is pretty fucking awesome. So thank you, guys.
So thanks. I've been here many times in this gym. When I'm in Florida and in Miami, this is the only gym that I train at. Jesus has opened a couple more flexes in Miami. I think one in Tampa, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's another one. Is there another one? Or that's it.
In the process.
Yeah. So I've been here. I've done seminars here before. Never been here for PJ. When PJ called me and told me the idea, and I said, well, he said he wanted the first one in Florida. I'm like, well, it's a no-brainer for me. And then we set it up, and he was like, I want you to speak. And I was like, he's like, did you come? I said, yeah. He's like, well, it's not, you know, MFit, my sponsor. I was like, I don't care. Like, it's for you. I'll speak. It doesn't matter. You know, everything PJ said was right. I mean, no, I don't think anybody else has the relationship and the longevity of a friendship that I have. I've met PJ in 2001. It is 2020. You know, almost 20 years. I've known this guy longer than anybody. I stayed in his Greg.
I'm in.
Stay at my grandparents' house. I forgot about that.
I got accused of eating chicken that I PJ used to have tuck hemorrhoid wipes just to wipe his ass because he didn't like wet wipes.
My grandma was like, I came home and he had the door open and he's naked in the bathroom shaving himself. I'm like, oh, I couldn't even shut the door.
No, but I've known PJ's mom, his sisters, his brother, best friends. I mean, me and PJ went from bodybuilding shows, fucking car wrecks, deaths. I mean, me and PJ have been through fights. We fought each other at one point, fights in clubs, and we bounced together. Like, there's nothing in life that I really haven't gone through in bodybuilding that in some way PJ wasn't involved in. You know, back in Connecticut, nobody did this. Like, you guys have social media now and think it's like this big, like, huge thing. Back when we were growing up, we had each other and that was it. And I think this is why he wanted this, because like PJ said, this shit doesn't exist anymore. Everybody's all self-entitled and worried about what the fuck they post on social media, what filters they use, and how many likes, comments. They forget what this sport is about, and it's about camaraderie, but nobody talks about it anymore, and nobody brings that vision to fruition the way PJ did. You know, the only other company that I've ever seen do this, which you guys probably already know, is Animal. It's the Animal Barbell Club. And this is a good thing, and I think the sport needs more of this to bring people together, because this sport usually tears relationships apart, friends apart, competitors apart, who doesn't like who, but that's not how this should be. You know, at the end of the day, you guys watch sport games, football, everybody's shaking hands, you know, exchanging jerseys. That's how this should be. It shouldn't be a fucking, tit for tat match everywhere you go in the industry. It's not about that.
We used to drive hours just to meet up and work out. Where nowadays, and then I make the excuse too, it's like, oh man, that gym's 15 minutes away. But back then, when that was all we had, you had Chris LeCompte, who's here right now, driving 2 hours from New Jersey. I would drive over an hour. He would drive over an hour, all to get together and train, and then be able to pose with the same guy and learn from the same people, because we loved it so much. And if I could, like I said, try to bring that back a little bit in bodybuilding, I figured I would test it out here. Seems like it was a pretty good success, and then start doing these around the United States. So I'm going to go up to probably Bev's and do one up there, and shoot over to Texas, do one there, do one in Cali, and just try to get different people in different areas, bringing like-minded people together. And to me, it's a nice little Saturday.
It's awesome.
It's a nice little Saturday, right?
And this is what we do. Go back
This is what we used to do. This is what we used to do. We would go to the gym for hours.
So you really don't understand the amount of time we spent in the gym, reading magazines, going over fucking journals and notes and training splits. That's all we fucking talked about. That's all we did.
I mean, we're dorks, but we wanted to be the best that bad, and that's what it takes. And that was a different time. It was, in my opinion, a lot harder to make it.
It was there was no internet, there was no phone. We had what, AOL in semester was like the biggest thing. By the way, that's actually funny that I mentioned that. PJ got drunk one night. Me and PJ went out drinking, and that night, my buddy, I'll tell the full story, but that's not the fruit cup thing. So my buddy was leaving. You guys know what a fruit cup is? You know, like a guy takes his junk and does like the man giant.
It's the opposite of a man giant.
You bend over and you got the little ball and shit right here. Well, PJ decided to do that to my friend that was leaving when he dropped us off from the bar. And neither one of us knew that my dad was in the window at like 2:30 in the morning, like watching the guy pull off. So my dad like woke up and walked down this. Well, then that night, we're eating ice cream, and PJ's like, let me go on Instant Messenger. And I was like, all right, go. So he starts like messaging somebody, and I hear him.
I thought I was talking about shit.
What are you doing? He goes, this person's saying the same thing back to me that I'm saying to him. I go, you're messaging yourself.
Needless to say, I don't drink anymore.
And then my dad comes down the stairs and goes, morning guys, PJ, nice coffee.
Yeah, so I've been doing stuff like that for years. And so we got everybody together today. We didn't really know who was going to show up, how it was going to go. I knew that I wanted to bring in people from the area that are influencers, that are doing bodybuilding, bikini, figure fitness, whatever, at a higher level. We have a bunch of people here today. Many of us know each other, many of us don't. But I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I will introduce a bunch of the pros that are here, and if they would like to speak, they absolutely can. Some of them may be a little shy. I believe we only have one men's physique pro here. Is that correct? Or we have two? Got Mr. Naturals over here. Oh, there's two. There's Izzy right in front of him. So we've got our men's physique pros, and we have a number of bodybuilders here. We have Stephen Wayne, who just got his pro card.
It's cold.
You guys still sell a lot of tickets, though. We have Sandy Gannon here, who is actually going to the Olympics. Funny thing about Sandy, I only mean this as a compliment. I never met anyone who approaches life and bodybuilding more like Guy Cisternino than Sammy. And the funny thing is, they have the same coach. And his coach actually called me after he won and told me, I've never met anyone more like Guy Cisternino than Sammy. And I was like, I told you. But that's good because he's had a lot of success and he's moved up very fast. And a similar situation of people saying, you know, you're not tall enough, you're not big enough, and now he's proved all those people wrong. He has won a show and qualified for the Olympia and competing at the Olympia this year. So another perfect example of just working hard and believing in yourself and following your dreams and seeing what can happen and the positive happens from there. We have Keon Pearson here today. Keon Pearson did his first Olympia in the Classic and got 4th place. A lot of people after the Arnold were saying, oh, you know, I think he's good enough to make the top 6. I said, I guarantee that there's no way in hell he'll be outside the top 5 with what we're going to do together, how hard we're going to work, how hard I know that he'll push it. I had him move down into my house for the last couple of weeks before the Olympia to make sure that everything was fucking perfect. And I knew it was going to be really, really hard to get him to make the weight. I knew he was going to have to suffer hard, and that's something that a lot of people just don't understand or want to do. I know Guy knows. He used to have to suffer down to make weight, 220 to 176. So with him, you know, he was like 185 for a while, and I was like, look, you're gonna have to just basically do hours of cardio and just eat fish and greens until we get to where you gotta be. That's what you're gonna have to do. And it sucks and it's miserable making a weight class like that. But if you want something bad enough, you'll do it. He made his weight, and just as I said, he beat most of the predictions, got 4th place, and now, after that, we had a really good talk, and I said, in my opinion, you're holding yourself back at how good you can truly be by trying to keep making this weight when you're so young and your body wants to grow so bad. Why don't we just open it up and take some time and grow into the 212, where you have lots of time to grow into this class, just like I had lots of time to grow into that class, and become truly the best that you can be. So we're not saying yet where his 212 debut will be, but he's in the process of putting his size on for now, and it's going great. We're very excited about it. We already know where it is. We're just keeping it a secret. Just keeping it a big secret. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Big secret.
Very excited about it though. We have lots of bikini pros here today as well. Sapoya's here in the back, who I worked with for years, who's been on the Arnold stage and the Olympia stage. We have the ab chick who's here somewhere. There she is in the back. Who my plan is to have on the Olympia stage this year.
Let's give a round of applause for bikini guys.
Yep. We have lots of my other Blackstone athletes in the house today. We have the Freak. I got to come down here. He actually started working out again just for this event. A lot of you guys enjoyed that series. Still has some of the crazy craziest genetics of anyone I ever met. He started to get back to the gym and grew like 20 pounds.
Yeah, it's because I didn't know I was coming to this, and then you tagged me, and the freak's gonna be. I'm like, I haven't lifted in 7 months.
I knew it worked.
I was like, well, fuck.
It worked. Billy Gagliardo is here. He won the Universe heavyweight class. And I'm training Billy for North Americans this year. I expect a lot of changes and honestly think that he's going to really surprise people this year with his condition at that show. We have Cody Montgomery somewhere all shy and quiet in the back. Cody! Been with Blackstone since he was a teenager. Since it started, Cody Montgomery came down to do USAs. And he was like, "Will you take my pictures for me?" He was 7 weeks out and sending them to Chris Cisternino, just like these guys work with. And when I took the pictures, I told my old partner, "Hey, we should sign him today because he's going to win USAs." And he was like, "You really think that young kid's going to win USAs?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll put money on it right now. He's that good. He's going to win USAs." Sure enough, he went in, became the youngest USAs winner ever. And he's done quite a lot in bodybuilding already at only like, what, 25 years old? Yeah, right. He's got a lot of really good years ahead of him. We have my entire Blackstone Labs call center who all competes here. Christopher Luke is here. He's another guy that I'm working with. We have, who else is here that I'm missing? Diana competes. And we have a lot of competitors here today. I'm glad to see all the different faces. And then for those of you who don't compete, it doesn't matter what level that you're at. You could be somebody that's just done one show. Somebody like Yara, who just did one show last year, blew everyone away, and then I was like, "You should just go for your pro card, took a break," and now she's getting back into it, and I think she'll get a pro card this year. You could be somebody like Devin, who's been messing around with bikini for a little while, still wants that pro card, or you could be somebody that's brand new to all this and just wants to learn from people that have been around for a while. That's what these events are all about. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have on anything. If you don't have questions, that's totally fine. Don't feel put on the spot. But we'll
Don't have questions, no problem.
yeah, we'll answer any. I know I will answer anything that they.
I'll answer pretty much anything.
And then some of the other guys might want to interject with stuff as well. Christian has a question.
Sean Roden says to stand up straight.
Tell Sean to kiss my ass. Fuck you, Sean.
Did everyone at least have a good workout today?
I think we need to do it again. We need to set it up again.
Before everyone leaves, I do want to get, it's very important to me, I want to get a group photo with everybody. This is the first one ever. We got to take a good shot. And outside of that,
Guys, I know PJ said open up the forum, but I don't know, like, obviously a lot of you guys know PJ, but I don't know how, much you guys got to talk to him, Keon, or anybody else, but, everybody bitches and moans that they want to learn stuff, or they don't know this, or they don't know that, or training, and then when we come to stuff like this, and we do Q&A, everybody's like, like, you guys aren't going to learn unless you ask. Like, the people in here that have knowledge is because they ask. And they ask questions, and they ask their coaches questions, they ask superiors questions, people, veterans questions. If you guys have a question, you gotta ask, or you're never gonna fucking know. But don't be afraid to ask a question, even if you think it's stupid, we'll answer.
and I do a podcast where I answer literally anything, whether it's juice related, whether it's love life related, regular supplements, training. You can submit questions to askbraun@blackstonehouse.com. I will answer anything that's sent in. So you don't have to feel like there's nobody that will give you an honest answer on stuff. And if I go live, I answer anything that you want on my live as well. Guys really good about answering questions too. We don't mind. So don't be afraid.
And the question you want to ask is probably the same person. There's probably 10 more in here that want to ask it. So if you got a question that you guys want the answer to, just ask it. Raise your hand and ask it.
PJ helped me get my degree.
So does anybody have a question? Raise your hand. We'll go. Okay.
What's the best?
When you say your opinion, you got it. I don't know if you're talking to us, one, me, him.
Both of you. What is the best training split for bodybuilding? And should that change when you're prepping for a show?
Best what?
Training split for bodybuilding.
Oh.
Well, there's so many ways to answer that question. You got to do what works best for your schedule, for starters. Sometimes you've got to make sacrifices to make things work. I personally always believed in training one body part really hard, once a week,
Same way.
slamming it, and then letting it rest. My personal split that I found made the most sense for me, let everything rest adequately, was I did legs on Monday, and I rested Sunday, and I ate on Sunday. That was my day of getting ready for legs.
Shoulders Tuesday.
No, I did chest on Tuesdays.
Oh, is that what we did? It was shoulders.
Chest.
It was legs, chest,
It was legs, chest, break on Wednesday,
and then
come back fresh for back on Thursday. Shoulders, arms, rest, repeat.
and we did hamstrings.
So we had there was a while where we split legs into a hamstring day, and
We did hams and shoulders.
you can absolutely do that. I think if you have lagging body parts, it makes sense to train them more efficiently on other days. I think as a general rule of thumb, most people, whatever level you're at, are going to get really good results training 5 out of the 7 days a week, with a break somewhere in the middle and somewhere in the end. One body part really hard. Now, once you start really breaking things down, and you might say to yourself, I have some really, really stubborn areas, then maybe you can throw in some extra stuff on other days as long as the rest is there. There was a point towards the end of my career where I had my shoulder day, but I had another day where I did some extra rear delt work, and then there was an extra day where I did some extra hamstring work. A lot of people have multiple glute days. Women also, you should understand that scientifically, your muscle fibers are a little different than ours, and you actually recover faster than ours. So women can get away with training more frequently, and that's why many women train their legs 2-3 times a week, where many guys would have a hard time with that. It is completely okay to do that, and many women have a lot of success that way. Guys, unless you're real specific with it, you'd probably be overdoing it that way.
And I'd put your weaker body part in the beginning of the week. Like that's, I was doing 6 days and I just went to a 5-day split. So like I do back and I just do a little bit of biceps on Monday. Because I hit my arms twice because they suck. And then Tuesday morning I do hamstrings. Tuesday night I do shoulders. Wednesday I take completely off. And then it's Thursdays chest, Fridays hamstrings, Saturday arms, Sunday off. So I added in an extra rest day, which I used to do with PJ, but I've been doing 6 days a week. But I'm in the gym too much. You don't grow here, you grow outside, eating, sleeping. So put your weaker body parts in the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday.
And learn yourself. Take notes like what we were saying and see what is working and what isn't working, because just what I said may work. What Ronnie Coleman was doing was working for him, may not work for you. You've got to figure it out on your own. Some people respond completely different than others, but you don't know unless you go in there and try. You've got to figure it out.
Who's got another one?
What age did you start adding? Like, for younger kids, would you give any advice to someone in seniors
Younger advice for
teenagers?
Well, I started working out when I was 12. So as soon as I got out of 8th grade, I was playing Pop Warner football for years. I wanted to be bigger for the football team in high school, and so I knew that I had to start working out. So I started very, very young. And a lot of people will tell you that when you start working out young, that it'll stunt your growth. That might have happened to Guy.
Definitely starting my growth.
But I think that if you're a teenager, then you can absolutely start. I think a lot of people start taking steroids too early, for sure. I got many kids that
High school.
join the gym and they're like, what cycle should I do? I'm like, you haven't even been working
You haven't got
out.
hair in the balls.
I worked out for 10 years as hard as I could before I did my first cycle of steroids. And much like Guy, I dieted down completely natural to see what it would look like first. And I got it down to 189 pounds. It was pretty shredded. It was a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. And I went and I did a show, and I got 5th place. And
There were some pictures in the house with the cloth.
those are the progress pics leading up to it.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a fun experience for me. But when I was done, I was like, all right, I see what I have to do, and I made that decision there to go up to it. So I really think that you should learn your body and train hard for a while before you decide to make that jump into what does this guy take? What does this guy take? I hear people ask those questions all the time. And in this day and age, I don't even know what a lot of these guys are taking. Some of them are taking a fucking lot. That's the truth. Some of them aren't. You don't really know. Nobody tells the truth anyway. But guys like us will be happy to answer questions and tell you the truth. I always tell everybody everything that I did back then when I was competing and versus what I do now in my different HRT protocols that just try to look halfway decent. So I don't, at this stage in life, I don't have the desire to be like really, really big anymore. I just want to be lean and I want to feel good. So the things that I do to myself now are completely different compared to when I was trying to be the biggest and the best in the world. So it's a much different, everything about it, just from not just what you're taking, but the lifestyle, the eating, everything is completely different. So you got to figure out all these things about yourself first, and then you add in those pieces of the puzzle.
The only thing I can tell you guys, I mean, there's a lot of pros here, so this obviously isn't directed at them. But if you want to be successful in the gym, you gotta get off your fucking cell phones. I saw it today. Everybody's filming just to get fucking likes. Like my phone didn't come out once today. Because I'm the fucking, like if I'm in the gym training with somebody they want to film me, they're my training partner, that's fine. But the thing that I try to explain to people, I didn't get here. PJ didn't get here from posting on social media. We got here from hard work. There's too many people try to supplement hard work with, well, I don't have to be a pro, but I have 300,000 followers. Well, does that pay your fucking bills? No. If you want to get, when you get to the point you want to get to being a pro or whatever it is you want to do, once you get there, then you can worry about posting or sponsors, and then you have obligations to do that. If you guys don't have fucking sponsors, why are your cell phones out in the gym? There's no reason for it to be out. Because
to try to attract sponsors.
You're taking away from training, from rest, from recovery, from your other training partner that's training with you. Like, until you get to the point where social media is a necessity, then you can incorporate that into the gym. If you're not getting paid to be on social media, when you're in the gym, stay the fuck off the cell phones. It's pretty simple. That's the number one advice I can give to anybody. When me and PJ used to train back in the day, there wasn't social media. Our phones were in the gym bag, trucks. We didn't even take them out. Nowadays, it's like, there's people that walk in like with a fucking camera crew. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like a nobody.
Yeah, it's a much different
Hard work is going to get the job done, not filming on social media. People put more effort into that than they do the gym. And that's why, if you look in the 90s and early 2000s, what Ronnie Coleman said was right. The era back then was way fucking better. There was more competition, everybody was neck and neck. Nowadays, it's totally different because social media, it ruins a lot of bodybuilders. It really does. Because they care more about comments and what people, this guy said I was an asshole, this guy said I suck, I don't know what to do. It's like a kamikaze effect. Just stay away from it. I'm not saying it can't be on social media, but when you're here and you're going to fucking work, just like you're at your job 9 to 5, cell phones can't be out. You're here, this is a job, keep your cell phones fucking away in your back.
And both of us figured out how to make a lot of money on social media, so it goes hand in hand in the sense that you can't be good at one without understanding the other, and vice versa. So if you want to be really, really good at being somebody on social media, you better get this aspect of it down so people want to pay attention to you on social media. Because if you don't, then you're just spending all that time on social media for what? What are you getting out of it? Most of the guys that have figured it out on perhaps my level, guys' level, we spent a lot of time perfecting who we were as businessmen, who we were as bodybuilders, what we wanted to do with our lives, and then just made it simple by just putting that out on social media. We weren't designing these concepts in our head of what we were gonna post in the gym and this and that, and what would be cool to get likes on social media. And people are very, very caught up right now in that. And I can promise you this, that the temporary success that you can and possibly will get out of that, it's temporary and it always changes. You've got to look at the long, long haul. And that's why guys like I have been getting paid for years. That's why Blackstone Labs has been around for all these years, because we look at the big picture and not just the immediate results. It's fun to blow up on social media and get a shitload of likes and have some idea that brings in money fast. But if you don't have a plan to keep that going, what are you gonna do? Because many of them don't have a plan. And I meet so many people all the time that are like, I'm trying to make it big on social media, I'm trying to make it big on social media, and then I ask them to do what? And they're like, make money on social media. And I'm like, doing what? And they're like, being famous. I'm like, good luck with that one. I've been seeing those come and go for years. So,
and I think what PJ was saying too about what me and him project on our social media, and I just had a little quick conversation with Sammy about it. It's too many people try to fit in other people's shoes to be somebody they're not on social media, and I can smell bullshit from a fucking mile away when people post something. Whether it's a speech, a talk, and what, I can listen to it and go, that's fucking scripted, he's reading off a fucking piece of paper, he's stupid, he's trying to be somebody. Like, be you, don't be a Jeremy Buendia, don't try to be me, don't try to be PJ, don't try to be Kai Green, people want to know who the fuck you guys are. They don't want to know who you pretending to fucking be. So, you gotta find your niche. All these people that post, they're like one-armed waitresses. They bring nothing to the fucking table, but they try to fucking have all this content and be this profound person, but it's not even, they're not being true. I just did a rant on it and posted it on my social media because I did a thing about everybody filtering everything they do on social media. It's like they have two separate lives. Like my social media life, this is who I portray myself to be, and this is who I really am behind the closed doors. And they don't ever line up. The number one compliment I can get in my life is when people meet me and they're like, man, you're just like you are on your social media. I'm like, well, that's because I'm real.
that is a true compliment that I love getting, he loves getting, because people can figure out in time what's bullshit and what's not. Just like he said, he sniffs it out right away. So you're really just bullshitting yourself when you try to create an image that you're gonna try to sell. People tell me all the time, they're like, how do you want me to be on social media? You know, what should I do on social media? And I'm like, I just want you to be yourself. Don't even try to sell my fucking products on social media. I hate when you do that. Don't try to be like, this is dust and it has, and then pronounce the ingredients wrong. Whatever. Please don't do that. Please don't fucking do that at all. I'll do that. That's what I'm here for. I just want you guys to work out, take the products, whether you like them, you'll tell me. If you don't like them, don't take them. And that's how all the companies want you to be. They don't want you to bullshit people and scam people. Don't get me wrong, there are companies that do that, but they're not usually around now. So it's all about just being yourself and being real, putting yourself out there. Use your story to show who you really fucking are, not some shit that you want everybody else to see. If you look at my story, it's pretty weird. There's a lot of cats and food, and then maybe there's some bodybuilding in there, but that's who I am. That's who I am. And you know what? I've made a lot of friends with people that like cats and food and bodybuilding and lizards and snakes, because that's the shit that I put in there. So, and Guy's got a big following of people that like Lyle Zeta, because he looks like Lyle. Most of the young guys are not going to know who Lyle Zeta is.
Guy, I was just watching your page,
Here we
and
go.
I was just, I'm always on your page, but you were talking about the influx of bullshit-ass coaches, and everybody's saying that they're coaches. Being a person who's getting into coaching myself, I have a degree in sports medicine.
You're different.
Yeah. And whatnot. How do you not fall into the sea of people saying that they're coaches and having all those people who don't have any knowledge, the circle that actually does have knowledge and actually get appreciation?
It's not the coaches that I really group. It's more the ignorance of the actual competitor. Because as a competitor, because I've been an amateur, so I know. If I pick a coach out, it's somebody that I see these people just, oh, this guy in my town coaches, or this guy in my gym coaches competitors. What has he done? Sometimes when you ask a competitor what accolades or what criteria or what degree their guys have, it's zero. Some of them just do a show and get their ass beat, but in their mind, they look the best they ever looked, even though they didn't do well. And they're like, well, I look the best I look, so now I'm a coach. So it's not so much, I can't fault people for trying to make money coaching other clients, but when you're taking people's health in consideration, that's where I have the fucking problem. And I shame the competitor for not asking the coach questions. My coach has a degree. My coach, I ask fucking questions. If something's not right or something seems off or I want to give him feedback, I give it to him and he listens. But I've been with coaches that are fucking clueless, that I've dropped in, third period math because they just suck. But you have a degree, you have accolades, you have a background in sports medicine or nutrition, whatever the case may be. So if you're going to promote yourself as a coach, you that has to be, people have to see that you have a BA in whatever, or a master's in whatever, you know, and then you can, and in the beginning, I would take on some clients if you're new, and I wouldn't charge you, because you need to have a foundation to promote yourself, and if you don't have clients, you can't promote yourself. All these people worry about money, but you get more money in the long run rather than the short term. You can make a quick buck fast being an up-and-coming coach new, but if all your competitors do, because it's a learning experience. And PJ will tell you this too, coaching is a crapshoot, right? Because you can't guarantee if I give you this diuretic, or if I give you this carb, or if I give you this amount of salt, what it's gonna do. I can say, I think this is what it's gonna do, but it's a guess. And that's what a lot of people forget. That I did 5 shows this year, and 4 of them I fucking looked like shit. But the 5th one, we nailed it, because I was still 2 years off, I was learning it again. But it's a learning curve. Like in the beginning, you're gonna, and you have to be okay with failing with your competitors, you know, because you're new to it too. Like it's gonna be a learning experience just as much for your as your client, and it is for you. And as it goes on, you're gonna learn a lot, you know, because it's trial and error. Just like walking into the gym and figure out what works for you. As a coach, it's the same way. But if you're gonna be a coach, and for the competitors, you gotta ask questions. You gotta ask, if your coach can't answer simple fucking questions, you have no business being the coach.
And they should want to answer your questions.
Yeah. Me and PJ fell into that trap. And here, you know, I don't even have to say who I'm talking about. But I had a coach back in the day that didn't know what he was doing, told me to crumple fucking rice cakes onto broccoli. He told me to crumple the rice cakes onto the broccoli. And after like a week, I was like, I don't know why. I told PJ, like, bro, I don't know why. He's like, it's John, man. He's probably fucking has like a reasoning behind it. So I was like, I gotta ask him, because this soggy broccoli infested fucking rice cake is disgusting. So I called him, I'm like, John, I gotta ask you, and like, you make me crumple like 2 rice cakes onto the broccoli. I was like, is there a reason behind it? Because it tastes hard. I was like, oh no, bro, I just thought it tasted good.
Yeah, that was it.
That was the reason.
So there are very good coaches out there, and there are very bad coaches out there. It's trendy to coach. It's trendy to compete in also. So you have a lot of people doing things for the right reasons, and you have a lot of people doing things for the wrong reasons. So there's going to be bad ones in the mix. It's up to you though to not rush into things. You've got to ask your questions. You've got to do your research. You've got to do the things that he just said. I tell my people I still coach because I love it. And it was one of my favorite things, although it was very hard, that I've done in my entire life. So
He's been coaching people since I've known him, helping people out. Such 20 years.
when I first started coaching, in the beginning, I was just helping people in the gym because I was passionate about it. I went to school for nutrition. I didn't know what else to do with myself. I loved bodybuilding. I wanted to be a bodybuilder. Once I saw how bad I thought most of the big name coaches were, I used my own money to fly to every single national level show that year, and I had no fucking money, so I was sleeping on floors of rooms most of the time, bumming, you know, if there was an extra bed, or, you know, seeing if I could get Dave Palumbo to help me with a plane ticket, just so I could go to all the national shows. I went to Vistaprint and I printed out, Braun Fitness was the name that I came up with, cards for $4.99, and I saw girls that were in the third call out of figure, because there was no women's physique, there was no bikini, there was just bodybuilding, and figure was huge. And the reason that I went to the third call out girls is because the first girls already had coaches. And the second girls, I knew that they were like, all right, well, these are the girls that beat me, so I'm gonna go to Kimoto because he coaches all these girls that are winning. And then the third call out girls were the ones that I was like, man, they're good, they probably just haven't figured out their diet yet. So I went up to all those girls and I would hand them my business card. I said, my name is PJ Braun, I don't think you know who I am. But I'm a bodybuilder, this is my education. I believe that you can be very good. And if you would allow me to coach you for your next show, I'll do it for free just to prove a point. And I did that the entire year. At every national show, I got 12 girls. And every single one of those 12 girls went on and won their show. I did it all for free. But they were so happy, they told all their friends. And their friends were like, how much to work with you? And at the time, I was like, I don't know, tell them $300 for a contest prep. Which is crazy in today's standards. And I started getting a bunch of girls, and the next thing you know, I had to put it up to 500, and then eventually 1,000. And when I retired in 2012, I had over 250 active clients that I was just working with as close as I can. But now, all these years later, 8 years later, I still have a very small handful of people that I coach for free, because I love what I do in that aspect so much, and I love working with people that want to be the best. And these are people that ask me a lot of questions, and when they ask me a lot of questions, it's because I know they want to be the best. So I appreciate that. And that's how the coaching relationship should be. You should be asking a lot of questions, your coach should be answering your questions, and it should be a very good process for both of you. It shouldn't be, well, I'm scared to ask my coach this, but when I check in on Saturday, hopefully he'll answer this question for me. I've been through that, and that's the freaking worst.
When you don't trust a coach, it can be, I don't know if you remember, I don't know, PJ, if you don't remember, Cisternino, when I turned pro in 2008 in Nationals, after pre-judging, I went to, I'm not going to say the coach, but I went to his room, and you weren't there yet, and I was kneeling down. And I was kneeling down like this, and I had my hands like this on the bed.
Oh, I came over
And you walked in, and you were like, hey, so-and-so, guy's not good, because I had already told him that I didn't feel good. And he was like, no, it's fine, he's just dehydrated. And you're like, no, dude, like, guy's really not good. And you and Mike Liberatore had to carry me to my room and lay me down, and he told you to go get me a Powerade Zero and fill it with salt, right? And he said, don't make sure guy doesn't fall asleep. I couldn't function. I thought I was meant to get rushed to the hospital. Like, I was out of it. They carried me in the room, they were like, you can't fall asleep. He said, you have to stay awake or you're just gonna take you to the hospital. And PJ put me in bed, and I fucking, he left the room to go, I passed out. He fucking came back in the room, and he was smacking me, like, dude, you gotta wake up. And I woke up, and he was like, hey, he said you have to drink this. And I was like, what? And he like put it to my mouth, and I drank it, and it tastes like he went to the fucking ocean, took a bottle, and walked back in the room, and I was like, dude, I can't drink this. He's like, bro, you have to. He's like, you have to drink at least half of it, or you're gonna have to go to the ER. So I like chugged half of it, and then like half hour later, I was like, all right, cool. What are we gonna do next?
Let me tell you, it was hard as fuck to find salt packets and Powerade at like midnight like that, running around the hotel. I need salt packets and Powerade. People were like, what the hell is wrong with this? But we managed to pull it off, and you know, that with everything that we're saying goes into knowing what's going on. Having a coach that cares about you a lot. Yeah.
Backstage.
So that was a good story. So I was backstage. My first ever overall win was in 2008, Atlantic City Pro-Am, and I was backstage. I was like completely different with this show than what I normally did. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna fucking pop my water. I'm not gonna take any diuretics. I'm just gonna go in there looking like what I look like and see what happens. Coincidentally, that's the only time that I was ever a super heavyweight. By like 3 pounds. And I was backstage, and Guy was like, you're flat, bro. You're flat.
And PJ hated being told he was off. I saw many fights about, I was like, you're good. Like, you could be a little harder. What do you fucking mean? My show's in fucking 3 days. It was great. Sorry.
So I'm all stressed out. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I got Protan all over my hands.
I stole as much shit as I could from people. I just
found
walked around and
cakes.
I found a cake, and I was like, this comes.
And he was feeding me the cake backstage
As you're pumping up.
as I was pumping up, and people were
I was
like,
like this. What's going on?
see, if social media was around, there'd be lots of coaches doing that now. Actually, there is somebody that does like fucking carrot cake games or one of these things now. It's like part of his whole like shtick, I believe. Somebody that's recording this is gonna be like, oh man, he just said something bad about so and so. I don't even know who I'm talking about. I just have heard this carrot cake.
Well, Factory used to do the apple pie filling.
Apple pie filling, yes. I've seen many people go hypo because of the apple pie filling. There's another one in the building right now that I won't call out. It's pretty weird when you see somebody that looks amazing, all of a sudden like drenched in sweat, white as a ghost, and ready to faint. And then you ask them what they did, and they ate a jar of apple pie filling. But you got to do your own education. You got to read a lot. Don't rush into who you decide to pick as your coach, and learn about your fucking self. That's what this is all about. Doing all of this is about being the best that you can be, in whatever that may be. It might not be competing. It might you just might want to look a certain way. You might want to feel a certain way. Maybe you just want to live a long time. My main goal now is I just want to live to be 100. That's what I think about all the time. What do I got to do to live to be 100? I know I can't lift heavy anymore because everything hurts. And educate yourself on the things that you have to do to get to that level. If your goal is to be the best bodybuilder in the world, well then there's a number of different things that go into that you have to have in line to get to that point. But you've got to learn yourself first. If you're not taking the time to figure yourself out, and you're just listening to somebody else, you're really just as good as that person's telling you to be. And that might be holding you back a lot.
And if you ask, one thing people say, they're like, well, if you give me any piece of advice, what would it be? And I'm like, well, do you have a coach? And they're like, if they say yes, I go, worst thing you can do is ask anybody else what you look like.
Yeah, don't do
Because
that.
if you ask 10 people besides your coach what you look like, you're gonna get 10 fucking different answers. And then you're gonna start mentally fucking yourself because you're gonna start doing things that you shouldn't do. There's every show I've done with Aceto, I'm like, Chris, I look like shit, I'm behind. He's like, you're fine. I'm like, I look like shit, you're fine. And then all of a sudden one day I wake up and I'm like, I'm healed. Right? I listen to what he had to say. But he's the only one I talk to. I don't send friends pictures. I don't ask my family to take a look at me. I don't ask my boys for their opinions. I'll ask them to take pictures to send to Chris, but I don't want to hear what they have to say because their opinions do not matter. The opinion that matters to me is the person I'm writing my check to at the end of the year, not some Joe Schmo in the gym that thinks it's big, you know? So don't ask everybody's opinion because A, they're either gonna not happen to have a fucking clue what they're talking about, or they're just gonna feed your ego when you look like dog shit.
There's just too many variables, you know? And like what he was saying about not feeling how he looks good, you know, I go through that with Ab Chick at every single prep. Of her being like, I don't look good today, I don't look good today, and then all of a sudden being like, okay, today I look good. And
I heard her saying before, she's like, I don't have any abs. I looked over, she's
every prep is gonna be different for every person, and I always tell my people, don't even bother talking to each other because you're probably doing something way different, and it's gonna get inside your head. Just focusing on what you're doing and being the best that you can be. But sometimes you actually have to tell your coach, hey, I don't think this is working, and let them know, because if you don't say shit, they're assuming that you're doing what they're doing and that it's all working great. And on the flip side of that, if you're not doing what your coach is saying, have the balls and the respect to say, hey, I've actually not been doing this, I've been doing this instead. Because they might look at it, I've been in this position before and been like, well, that's actually working really awesome for you, so I'm glad you told me. Let's keep doing that and not make any changes there. It's all about communication. Just like any other good relationship in life, there has to be communication that goes back.
And I'm sure PJ has ran into this. A lot of times a competitor will listen to a coach and they'll blame the coach for their failure or not doing well at shows, but let alone they weren't doing everything they were supposed to be doing the entire prep. Because the problem is when you're prepping with a coach, whether it's a well-known guy or not, the coach's job is to get you in the best shape possible. It's not your job to do the coach's job. So if the coach tells you to do something, you can't go through a prep, not listen to a coach, and call him a coach, and then fail, and then go, my coach fucked everything up. Well, if you didn't do everything 100%, and you changed 2% of it, you could have fucking destroyed your entire prep. So the only way to know is if something worked is to follow the entirety of your prep. And then after the show, you can go, this didn't work. So we have to try something different. I did it 5 times this year. Shit just kept not working. But I followed what he said to a T, because even there were shows I was like, I don't think I should be fucking doing this. But I was like, if I don't do it and I fuck up, then who do I blame? Myself or do I blame my coach? You know what I'm saying? So you have to kind of, you know, walk that fine line of you know, paying attention to detail.
And very few people that have been around for 20 years would argue that his coach is not the best coach of all time. Very few. And the ones that would argue are probably just arguing for the sake of arguing and don't know what they're talking about. So even the fucking best sometimes can't get it right, and you guys got to go back and forth and figure it out. So
I would say, just to go off asking for advice and things like that, as you were talking about it, you know, so many people ask, oh, what should I do this, should I do that? The best thing you can fucking do is just take action. Go to the fucking gym, eat all your goddamn meals, and do that consistently for 2 fucking years and see where you're at. Because looking up online 70 different meal plans and what this guy's doing and what this guy's doing isn't gonna fucking matter. Going to the gym and lifting, whether it's the wrong lift or not, is gonna get you better. You know, so that's the best advice.
And you're gonna go crazy because
shoot
there's
your fucking shot too, because if you're not sure what coach you want to do or what you want to do or how you want to fucking do it, I mean, when I wanted to be a coach by PJ, I had no idea. I never met him before. I asked Sammy to fucking introduce me to him like 75 times. That never happened. And he was working at Blackstone. No offense. Sammy was like, bro, he's not gonna fucking coach you. Don't even know him, blah, 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 blah. I was like, fuck this. I followed him around for like a month. Went to Busybody Fitness. I was like, I'm gonna get the sickest pump of my life and just stalk this guy. I take my fucking shirt off. I walk by him like 55 fucking times. And he's
if
like,
you did that fucking 10 years ago, PJ took his shirt off and walked by.
well, we were laughing because we were talking about how every time you guys work out, he tries to do one more rep with you. When we first started training, that's Sam. And we would lift, and he'd be like, how many did you do? I'd be like, I don't fucking know, like 10. He'd be like, all right, bet. Hit 11. He'd be like, I did 11. I'd be like, all right, asshole. But, you know, and I never thought it would turn into the relationship that me and PJ had, and, you know, all the great memories and things that brought me into my life. But, you know, it did. And it was a fucking whim, and I never thought it was going to happen, but you never know what's going to happen. So just bust your ass, work hard, and expect something good to happen. You know, be positive, expect a good outcome, because it may seem like it's fucking the last fucking thing that can happen, but you don't know, and it could. So, and being lazy and sitting around isn't going to get you there anyways. So you might as well work your ass off anyways, and you know, see where it takes you.
And it's supposed to be fucking fun.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun. So once you're the top 5, 10 best in the world, then you can be real serious and think, I gotta fucking move up a spot this year, I gotta move up. For everyone else, this part of it is supposed to be fun as fuck.
It changes, man. When you turn pro, it changes. It changes. It goes from a hobby to a fucking job, and it's a lot of. I'm not saying I don't enjoy training, but the fun isn't where it was when I was an amateur. Really, it's not.
So focused on trying to improve and get better.
Yeah, man.
Get your
And listen,
Well,
like going off what he said, like this sport is not fucking hard. You have to eat the right food, train, do cardio. Like people overcomplicate it. Like if you guys don't know how to train by now and don't know what foods, like to this day, people tell me, I'm like, that's not okay to eat. Well, my carbs are a wheat wrap with in a burger. I'm like, what the fuck? That's not good. You're like, well, I had sushi for my cheat meal, because, or I had sushi because my coach doesn't want me having a cheat meal. I'm like, that's horrible. Well, sushi's clean. Really? I bet how many people know in here, you guys definitely don't know, but there is a fucking shit ton of sugar they put in the sushi rice in order to make it sticky. So many people don't know that. So when they're like, oh, I eat clean, I eat sushi. I'm like, sushi has, it's like drinking a can of soda. Unless you're getting sashimi, it's not clean. Sushi rice has a ton of fucking sugar.
There's a reason why that the coaches that are good, that have been doing this for a while, make their shit seem really, really basic. And you look at it and they're like, this seems so basic, this is my diet. Like, Keon only ate like 6 things for the Olympics. And people will be like, that's all he's eating? I'm like, that's all he needs to eat to be the best that he can be. And look at what he looked like in the end. Now, coaches want to sell themselves on, you don't have to do that shit if you work with me. You don't have to do a lot of cardio if you work with me. Now, I can tell you right now, everybody, or almost everybody that's ever been really, really good,
Besides Dexter Jackson,
has starved and done a lot of fucking time. What's the most cardio you ever done?
75 minutes twice a day.
75 minutes twice a day. I did, if I was listening to him, I would have been doing with Dave Palumbo one year 3 hours of cardio.
Chris LeCompte, how many hours of cardio did you do that year?
3 hours. That was the Dave Palumbo steady state. I was doing 2 90-minute sessions. Now, I actually, later in life, just to prove a point, did 3 hours of cardio a day for a month, just to see what would happen. But most of us, male or female, that have gotten good at bodybuilding, bikini, figure, whatever it is that we're doing, we're eating super, super clean, not a lot of food, and doing a shitload of cardio. That's just the way it is. And if it wasn't like that, everybody would look fucking amazing everywhere, because why wouldn't you? So, do the work, stay away from people that are gonna tell you there's all these shortcuts. Yes, there are things that you can take to make things happen faster or better or more efficiently, but that doesn't mean that there's not somebody else that's doing that thing plus putting in all that fucking work too. And that's what really separates.
And you guys got to put it in perspective too, and I say this a lot, and some of you have ever heard me talk, have heard me say this. Like, he was talking about like Keon and eating only fish and asparagus. Like, listen, I've done that. It sucks. Eating fish and asparagus 6 times a day fucking blows. But there are people that don't eat 6 fucking times a month.
Yeah.
So there's got to be perspective put into what you're doing. When you say, when my clients go, dude, I'm fucking starving, like I don't know what I'm gonna do, I'm like, you're not starving. You're just mentally fucking weak. You're eating 6 times a day. I don't care if you're not having a goddamn carb. You're not starving. I don't care if you, I can't do cardio in my legs. There are people that don't have legs that would love to have legs and do cardio 23 out of 24 hours.
Yeah.
So don't complain to me. If you're complaining, you're in the wrong fucking sport, because
Just
getting
don't
in
do
shape
it.
is not
Nobody's
easy.
making you do this.
No, nobody's telling you to do it. So if you're gonna complain and do it, do me a favor and don't fucking do it. It's simple. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's blunt, he's fucking like mean, but this sport is very simple. People complicate it because they're trying to make a buck, or all these like acronym training methods that are going around now. Like people are like, well, you don't use bands and because I fucking train, dude. Like I don't need rubber bands wrapped around a fucking squat rack to
Takes too much time.
yeah. You know, it's ridiculous. Like back when me and PJ trained, like we fucking just trained. We just grab weight and went. There was no like putzing around. I see people.
There's a lot of fancy shit out there.
Crazy. Maybe I'd be a better bodybuilder, but I have time to fucking look like a fool in the gym. Fucking bands hanging off my ass.
Just load the plate on. Add more weight, train harder.
Does anybody else that's here have specific questions that they want answered?
Even if it's lifestyle, guys.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be bodybuilding.
If not, I know there are certain people that are trying to roll out. I want to make sure we get a good group picture. I'm not rushing out of here. If there's people that want to start getting out of here now, let's take a big group picture.
And if you guys want to grab our ear or something on the side and ask questions, we're ready.
Next time I sit there and have a down in prep, don't yell at me.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I heard 3 stories.
Of yelling? It's not really yelling, it's just firm talking.
Yeah, you gotta remember, PJ's not a Floridian. He's just like North
It's never intentional. Like Marissa will tell me after certain phone calls, she'll be like, you know, you were just like really mean to that person. And I'll be like, really?
Same.
And then I start thinking about it later.
It's not that you're mean,
No,
it's
you're
how you
just
talk.
firm. You're bullying, you're firm, which is sometimes people need that, you know.
You guys don't know what
It's
yelling is.
tough love.
You guys ever
Just
seen?
an FYI.
Yeah, you've never talked to fucking Sammy.
No, yeah. That's another story. I never heard yelling. So I was in the call center one day. This is probably like 2 years ago. And I'm not going to explain the whole story because it's not my business to say. But you see PJ holding a piece of paper and on the phone. And you walk in. You ever seen Finding Nemo when the shark actually smells the blood? And he's like, fuck fish, I'm eating them like right away. And then attacks it. Well, you see that shark and then all you see is PJ. Decided